Awesome. This video is going to be looking at the elimination method. So remember, you have three methods on your test. You have substitution, elimination, and graphing. Of course, you'll have a couple word problems based on these as well. I did not make or will not be making a video about the word problems, so if you need extra help on that, please reach out to Gavhard. So, elimination. Now remember, we can tell the difference between substitution and elimination based on how it's arranged. If it doesn't say y equals or x equals, we know that we're going to do an elimination, which means we want to take and add these two together, but we want one of these to cancel out when we do. So we need one of these variables to be the exact opposite of each other. Well, it just so happens that in this problem, 5 and negative 5 already are opposites. So if I start by adding these two together, 5 plus negative 5 will equal 0 and cancel out. Negative 4 plus 3 will equal a negative y, or negative 1. And 2 plus a negative 9 will equal negative 7. So in this case, this is just your basic problem because by adding them together, it already does cancel out. So I'm going to divide by that negative 1 and get y equals 7. Again, this is only half of my answer. So far, I have my y. I need my x as well. I'm going to pick one of the top two equations, whichever one looks easier for me. I think the top one, 5x minus 4y equals 2, because it has less negatives. And I'm going to take that 7 that I got for y, and I'm going to plug it in my y. So I'm going to multiply, so I have 5x minus 28 equals 2. I'm going to move the 28 over by adding 28 to both sides. And I end up with 5x equals 30. And then divide by 5, and get x equals 6. So that's my first easier problem because I don't have to do much of the eliminating part. Let's look at the second one. So again, same thing. I notice an x, a y, and a number, so I know it's not substitution. So again, I want to go ahead and try to add these. Well, 10 plus negative 3 is not 0, and 2 plus 2 is not 0. 2 plus 2 is close. If one of these were a negative, it would work, right? Which means we need to change one of these. I'm going to change this bottom one by multiplying by a negative 1. What that's going to do, it's going to change every single sign in here. So I'm going to rewrite this top problem. 10x plus 2y equals 16. And then I'm going to rewrite this one with multiplying by 1. So negative 1 times negative 3 is a positive 3. Negative 1 times 2 is a negative 2. And negative 1 times negative 10 is a positive 10. Now I'm going to add these together. 10 plus 3 is 13x. 2 plus a negative 2 is 0. 16 plus 10 is 26. Now I have something that I can just divide and solve. X equals 2. Again, this is only part of my answer. I still have to plug that back in. So I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to plug it in right here for that x. So 2 times 10 is 20 plus 2y equals 16. Let me rewrite that. It looks a little ugly. Plus 2y equals 16. I'm going to move the 20 over here, so I'm going to subtract 20 and get 2y equals negative 4. And I'm going to divide by 2 and get y equals a negative 2. And that's my answer. So notice in this one, we only had to change the sign. The numbers were already the same, a 2y and a 2y. But in order to get them to cancel out, we needed one of them to be negative. What's going to happen if our numbers are not the same? So let's look at this last, a little bit more difficult problem. So again, if I try to add these, 4 plus negative 8 are not the same. 3 and 1 are not the same. So I need either these both to be 8s, or I need these both to be 3s. Doesn't matter which one you change. I'm going to change the x's just because I like to get rid of the x's. So in order to make this an 8 to where they would cancel out, I need to multiply this by 2. So I'm going to multiply it by 2. I'm going to write the new equation right down here. So 4 times 2 is 8x. 4 times 3 is 12y. And 4 times, sorry, I'm doing 4, my bad. Sorry, 1 second. Let's try this again. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. And 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. Sorry, I was multiplying by 4 instead of 2. Now we're going to add those two equations. 8 and a negative 8 cancel out. 1y plus 6y is 7y. And negative 16 plus negative 12 is a negative 28. There we go. Now we have something we can solve. Divide by 7, divide by 7, y equals negative 4. So again, we just solved for y. But we need our x, so we got to plug it back in. Again, pick whichever one looks easier to you. In this case, let's go with the top one. So 4x plus 3 times a negative 4, because we're going to plug in our y, right? So I have 4x minus 12 equals negative 8. I'm going to add my 12 to both sides to get rid of it. So I get 4x equals negative 8 plus 12 would be a 4. And then divide by 4, x equals 1. That is your elimination method. Again, hopefully you are practicing these problems as we go along. And again, if you need any extra help, please see Ms. Gavin.